You're good.
Don't let go.
Whoa.
Oh, there she goes. Okay. For today's video, we're going to do a little bit of combination. We're going to set up for our prep, and while the food's prepping, since we're doing ribs tonight, everything prepped here. We've already prepped soup. We did that off camera. We just had some chicken left over from earlier in the week that we had prepped, so we put it in here as fruits and vegetables, and we're making some chicken soup. And then we're going to create, also we're going to do the ribs, and then we've got a whole chicken in the fridge that we slaughtered yesterday, which we'll have a video on that coming out later. But then what we're going to do is, so once that's done, we get this in the on the grill. We're going to go work out and get our workout done. And the workout today we're going to do is going to be a 3-part workout. We call it a 3 of a kind. We're going to do 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, and 100 push-ups, 100 pull-ups, and 100 squats. And we can get them done in any order and as fast as we can get them done. So Ian is our cook today. Ian's going to be the one making the ribs. I'm just here for moral support, and I'm going to start the grill up for him because he's not tall enough to quite lift the handle up. But other than that, he's doing it all by himself, so I'll let him tell you what he's going to do for the ribs.
I'm making a seasoning rub right now for the ribs. It has brown sugar, pepper, salt, paprika, cayenne pepper, garlic, and cinnamon.
So how much each are you putting in, Ian? You might need to take the lid off of that. It's not been opened. Let me go ahead and start. I'll get it.
I'm adding garlic right now.
So what's your ratio? How much are you adding, Ian?
It's really depending to taste how much you want. If you really don't know how much, like the combination you want, eyeball it. I'm adding the cinnamon right now, and not as much as the garlic because it can be overpowering sometimes. I'm now adding the pepper, and you want about 50% brown sugar, 50% spices. But how much you added of brown sugar, you should add of spices. And I'm adding salt right now. If you add all the seasonings and there's not enough seasonings, just restart. Don't take them out, just restart and add them again until you get 50% sugar and 50% spices. Now I'm adding paprika. Now I'm adding cayenne. Now I'm just gonna restart and add more. I'm also adding chili powder for a little bit of spice. Right now I don't have enough seasonings, and I put all of them in how I estimated they should be. Now I'm going to add my favorites. So we're just gonna add some more black pepper. Now I'm gonna add some garlic. Now I'm gonna add some salt. Make sure you never over salt. But again, there's sugar in this. So salt. Should add a good amount of salt. Now some cinnamon.
There you go.
Make sure you add many seasonings because a lot of people under seasoning their almost everything. Make sure you break up the clumps of brown sugar. Like see right there. Break those up. Doesn't have to be perfectly smooth, just smooth enough. So when you rub it on those beautiful ribs, you will be breaking those up. Just get the big ones.
All right, now if you notice we're doing ribs tonight, and we're going to add sugar to the ribs. So it's going to be, it can be calorically dense. So what you have to do is you have to make sure you do portion control. And so when you eat your ribs and you make something like this, you can absolutely do stuff like this. Eat stuff like this regularly. It's not a problem. It's just you have to make sure you're staying within that caloric intake daily. And right now, it's a little hard even for us because we're not as physically active as we are or have been in the past. So our caloric intakes maybe are adjusting a little bit. So just make sure you're not eating half a rack of ribs. It's not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to be eating 2 or 3 sections of ribs, weigh them. You can find all the calories online. So go from there. But definitely portion. Ian's got his dry rub complete. He's pretty close to 50-50. He's got it the consistency he likes. So what I'm going to do now is I've got a container. It came in peanuts, food grade plastic container. So I'm going to add the rub after we put it on the ribs. What's left will go in here, and that way we can keep the rub for later. And we just don't happen to have any right now. We are completely out. So we definitely always, and this will save some time having the rub pre-mixed. Plus, also, if we get it and we're like, oh, let's add a little more pepper, or maybe let's add a little more garlic, we can and add it back to this before we use it next time. We will also use this on chicken. We'll use it on pork. What else? We use it on steak sometimes.
Yeah, steaks, burgers, ham. This would be perfect on ham.
We don't use it often because of the sugar in it, but we do use it occasionally.
We are now getting the ribs out. We're gonna take the membrane off. Before we start that, let me just say, always use a cutting board. Our counter is a removable cutting board. And it can be cleaned easier, and it's just much easier to clean. And always take the excess fat off, and take most ribs have the membrane taken off. If they don't, you can ask your butcher to take it off, but if you just buy them prepackaged, make sure you take it off yourself. You can get a paring knife, get it under the membrane, and grab it with a paper towel and rip the membrane off.
If you do not get the membrane off, the ribs will be tough.
Filming.
Membrane can kind of be tricky to get off, and like Ian was saying, you have to use kind of a lot of times a paper towel works out better. And also, this will feed that to the dogs in a minute, or to the chickens, either one.
Dogs.
Raw meat does not hurt dogs, and it does not hurt chickens. We don't like to waste anything. So if we were going fishing, this makes pretty good fishing bait, dude.
And it's pretty easy to tell if the membrane's on or off. Look at this rib. Then look at the one that has the membrane. The difference is you can see the membrane.
So what we'll do is we'll take the paring knife, as Ian was saying, and try to get it started.
Also, with the paring knife, get off any big pieces of fat that will burn. Like this right here. This will be cut off.
Under that membrane.
It is very easy to peel off.
I wouldn't say easy, but it will come off.
It's easier.
And it is important, like you said, you want to get that off there because it traps. First of all, the seasoning doesn't get to the meat, and then it makes it tough. And I wouldn't say it ruins them, but it definitely.
It's not as good.
Definitely makes them tough, yeah.
And if you're like, nah, I don't really feel like putting in the work, take the membrane off. It's not that much work, but it's definitely worth it.
All right, we almost got it.
Are you done filming?
All right, guys, we got the membrane off. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add the dry rub. And to keep this safe, because we're going to keep this dry rub and to make sure it's not contaminated, I've cleaned up, my hands are washed, I'm completely ready to go. So I'm not going to touch any of the ribs. Ian's going to take care of this part. I'm going to sprinkle from a distance and let him take care of all this. That way I can store this rub.
Make sure you season both sides of the meat. Also make sure that the seasoning doesn't stay on more than 30 minutes or it starts to taste like ham. Also, make sure this you wrap it in tin foil about 3 times to keep it from
Traps the moisture.
To trap the moisture in. And if you don't, it really won't be crispy. Just don't cook them naked.
Look at that, please. And when he says don't leave it on for 30 minutes, he means get it on the grill within 30 minutes.
Yes. Yes, I did. Make sure you leave enough seasoning rub for both ribs, or how many ribs you have.
All right, now, wrap that one up and go ahead and wrap that one up, and then we'll move on to the other one. And we'll wrap this guy up, and we'll just slide him over, and then we'll triple wrap him. So right now we're gonna single wrap him, and then we're gonna go ahead and put our aluminum foil down so we can do the next rib. So I'm, again, keeping my hands sanitary, because I'm touching everything that's going back into the cabinet. It is not. So we two-man this, and we will do the same thing with that rib.
We are now starting to grill them. And one side of the grill is hot, one side is not.
What he's saying is these two burners are on, these two burners are off. We're wanting to cook them with the radiated heat. So that's it. And we will go in, and how often do we check them? Every 30, right?
Every 30 minutes for 2 hours, and 30 minutes to 3 hours.
All right, 2.5 hours to 3 hours. And we're gonna go in and we'll show you how we mark our time.
As tradition, we use tomatoes to time how much time the ribs need to cook. So basically we set a timer for 30 minutes, and then when that 30 minutes timer's done, we flip them, and after the 30-minute timer's done, we put a tomato on the counter, and then when there's 4 to 5, and when there's 4 to 5, we go get the ribs, get them up, unwrap them, barbecue them, and eat them.
How's everyone doing? We're in the middle of cooking the ribs, and every 30 minutes we have to flip them, so we're going to try to knock our workout out. It might take us 2 sessions, but we'll try to get it done sometime while the stuff's actually cooking. So what we're going to do is we're going to do 3 exercises, and then we decided we're going to do a bonus 4. So what we're shooting for is 100 reps. It's going to take us a while, and it's going to be pretty hard. The 100 push-ups won't be too bad. The 100 squats won't be too bad, but the 100 pull-ups are going to be tough. So what we're going to do is we just happen we rock climb as a hobby, so we happen to have a hangboard here hanging above the thing. It's not the best thing in the world to do pull-ups on, just because in my case I can't get my head high enough. I can get the ceiling. It's really designed more to practice your finger strength by hanging. But I'm going to do what I can do because it's raining outside, so I'm going to do them here. And what we're going to do is we're going to do it. We'll just film a few shots of us doing it. But do something like this that would really work for you. We're just trying to do something. Like I said, we can't go outside. We don't want to go run in the rain. We can't go do pull-ups or get in the grass. It's just nasty. So just try something to do, whether you're doing push-ups, whether you're doing pull-ups. If you can't do a pull-up, do the modified pull-ups we showed you the other day. Do something. Just make sure you're moving during this time and really focus on nutrition, because at the end of the day, everything that we don't do physically, as long as we're moving, as soon as we get back in the gym, 2 or 3 weeks in the gym, we're going to catch up right where we were at, right where we left off. But nutrition, if that slips away from you, it's really hard to come back, because once you start heading down that path and you start getting there, it's really, really hard to turn that around. And like if you were to start drinking soda again after you quit, they become very addictive very quickly. Sugar is almost like cocaine to the body, so it really, really is addictive. So try to keep the diet as best you can. And with that, we're going to get started. All That was the last set. And as you can see, it whooped my butt. All right, William was having a hard time doing pull-ups, so she's doing negatives. It's where she goes up. You're stronger on the eccentric than you are in the concentric motion, and the eccentric is the down portion of this. So she's holding as long as she can, and she's working her way down. And that's what she's doing as a modification to not being able to do a pull-up. So if we were outside, what we would do is we would take her and we would do it where we would do like we did the other day where she was pulling between those poles. Now Lily's going to hang. She just likes to get up there and practice her hand strength for rock climbing. So she's going to hang.
I forgot my dog!
You forgot to chalk up.
Yeah, gotta go.
You're good.
Don't let go.
Whoa.
Oh, there she goes. Okay. All right, we got the ribs off, or the ribs are done. It's been almost 2.5 hours. So what we're going to do now is we turn the grill as high as it would go. We're going to shift the ribs onto the heat.
That's okay.
I will. Hold on. We're going to shift them onto the heat. And Ian is going to start brushing
With our secret barbecue sauce.
with our barbecue sauce, which he says is secret. We can't tell you that.
It's just barbecue sauce and butter.
There you go. All right.
Pepper. Barbecue sauce it?
Hotter than hell. It's been on here for 2.5 hours. All right, look out, bud. So I don't get splash on you. Sit there and let that cool.
You should sauce them about until the barbecue sauce is gone. You should have about 2 cups. Make sure this first 2 or 3 layers are really good. Then you can just start splattering it on there.
Spread that one out. Right in the corner of the back. Back corner. So we'll flip it over and then that will caramelize onto the rib. And while that's caramelizing, Ian will go ahead and do this side.
And after this is barbecued, just shut the grill.
All right, we let them sit on there for a second, let the ribs caramelize. Or let the caramelize.
I don't know.
No one knows how to pronounce it.
And then we do that, and you'll start seeing starting to get some rib marks on it. So we'll give it a second. Just a little bit here. So we want to do at least 3 or 4 flips, and we'll let it sit a little bit longer each time. And rub it in, we'll close the grill back up. All right, guys, we will do 4 layers of that, 3, 4, depending. We'll do it till we're out of barbecue sauce.
Make sure you get every crevice and make sure everything's covered, or some parts will not just be saucy and it will kind of just taste weird.
Okay, that's what we did today. So today was rainy, so we took off from the farm. We spent some time cooking with the kids. We cooked for 3 days. We cooked these ribs, which will last us for a couple of days because, like I said, it's going to be portion control. We're not going to eat a half rack of ribs each. We're going to eat 2 ribs. Wynn's making roasted potatoes right now. We'll probably throw a salad together, something green, and that's what we'll have for dinner. And again, it's okay to eat red meat. It's okay to eat things like ribs. It's okay to eat even things like hot dogs occasionally. It's just one of those things that when you do eat stuff like this, it needs to be rare and it needs to be portion controlled. And that's going to be the key to this tonight. This is good, and we'll portion control it. You also saw our workout. Our workout wore me out. It's a little different than what I'm used to doing. And the gym's been a part of my life for a long time, and going to the gym's a huge part of my life. So it's very difficult, not just necessarily physically finding a way to work out, but mentally, because that's my release. That's my release. That's when I go, I can get away from everybody. I can put my headphones in, and I can enjoy myself for an hour and a half or ever how long it takes. So again, guys, it's so important that we keep moving. We try to eat healthy. We enjoy ourselves too. And if you guys have any questions, let me know, and we'll do whatever we can to help you. Thank you.
These are our finished product, and we tasted them, and they taste awesome.